I tell you, sometimes I think I'm ready, and then I'm like, no, I'm not ready. There we go. La, 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 la. Okay, alrighty. A little more light so we can look like we are. Oh, yes, I'm in my lounging clothes. And this is my first cup of coffee. You get to enjoy it with me. Yay! All right, so welcome to Weird and Woo-Woo. It's literally in the name where I'm a bit weird and we get woo-woo. So if that's not your shtick, by all means, go find you a channel that is. If it is your shtick, then welcome. Hello, sexy soul. Alrighty, so coffee and tarot. We grab our cup, we settle in, and we get ready for a message. This is the long game, okay? If you're like, I want a 20-minute, really quick read, this is not it, okay? This is, we grab a blanket, corner of the couch, cup of whatever, matcha, tea, coffee, wine, I don't care, right? And we settle in to see if there's a message. We're along for the ride, okay? That's how this works. All right, so before getting on today, they were singing a song to me, and I was like, oh, okay. And like, when you first wake up, sometimes you can wake up from a dream and like music will start playing in your head. I had nothing all morning, right? Until I was like, I am going to go ahead and get on. I'm going to go ahead and get on. I go in there to make my coffee and everything, and they just start singing it. And it's We're Not Gonna Take It by Twisted Sister. And that's the only one. That is the only song. That's the only anything that came through. But they just kept incessantly going for it, right? I was like, okay. So I'm just going to give you a snippet for all the youngins out there that don't really know the song, who might have heard it when their parents were playing it, you know what I mean? And like only knew, like they only know that one chorus, We're Not Gonna Take It kind of thing, or sometimes it's on a movie or something like that. Let me give you a heads up. Let's listen to the lyrics really, really quick, okay? We've got the right to choose, and there ain't no way we'll lose it. This is our life. This is our song. We'll fight the powers that be. Don't pick on our destiny, because you don't know us. You don't belong. We're not going to take it. The whole chorus. Oh, you're so condescending. Your call is never ending. We don't want nothing, not a thing from you. Your life is trite and jaded, boring and confiscated. If that's your best won't do. And it just really goes on variations of the We're not going to take it. We're not going to take it anymore. The one that they really are sticking out is We've got the right to choose. There is no way that we'll lose that. This is our life. This is our song. We'll fight the powers that be. I think this is just any external energy or society in regards to what we believe is right and true for ourselves, right? And it's almost like I feel like I get a sense of, we're going to go back to that one movie, the Adjustment Bureau, where it's almost like even if spirit says, you know, like this idea and notion that maybe the energies at large at times have felt like they were against you, you know what I mean? Or trying to shift you in a different direction. And you're just saying, this is my destiny. This is what I'm going to do. And like, I'm just not going to take it anymore. I'm not taking it from any place is what I want to say. That's what it feels like to me. Yeah. So let's just figure this out, because even as I'm looking at the song, they still want to keep playing it. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't really know where you're going to go with this, but we'll just listen. Hey, Anna, how are you? It's a Saturday morning. Not everybody gets up. And then, of course, my peeps across the world, sometimes they're still partying. So, anywho's, get your coffee. Let's settle in. Did you just hear the song for this morning? Twisted Sister? I was like, okay. Twisted Sister. Love you too. So that's where we're going. All right, so we're going to start with the Fallen Angel Oracle. And then I can already tell we're whipping out the Madame Dora's fortune telling deck. I have no clue where this is going to go. It's funny because sometimes I can pick up an energy, you know what I mean, with whatever messages that come through, and it's not that. But I sat down really nice and calm and really, again, rejuvenated, feeling good. It's a good morning. It is this feeling of anything that stands in your way isn't going to be tolerated anymore. Like maybe energies that would try to sway you or influence you to maybe either act out of pocket or go a different direction, or it's like it's not going to have the same impact on you anymore. Like you just see it for what it is. Like, I'm not taking this anymore. It's just this idea of taking your destiny into your own hands type of situation. I just feel like this has been you in the past. What they're giving me right here is these. I laid this card down and there was two. Yeah, that's the past. That's for damn sure. Good Lord. All right. Hold on while I get this shit up. That came out first. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Okie dokies. Okie dokies. You're just not settling anymore. They're giving me the card, the center card being the primary energy. And it's like what you would assume it means at first glance is not what they're talking about. I think that they're talking about a tower moment. But it's always, we always want to go to a negative one. But this is one that I feel like is just like, I see somebody like say there's a column and somebody wraps a rope around it and they yank it out. You know what I mean? It's like somebody is intentionally bringing some type of tower down. Like this is like you making the decision. This shit's not fucking working anymore. I'm changing it. Old energy is that of settlement, misfortune, and restraint. Almost like settling for the shit that you had to deal with, settling for it, like not fighting it, succumbing to it, handing your power over to whatever circumstances there were, and just resigning yourself to something. That's the energy that I get from this. Just that you see. So you can see these cards. I don't know why I'm showing the visuals on this one. This hawk's important. Restraint. I don't get the sense that you would buck anything, that you spoke out, that you, the whole idea of we're not going to take this anymore. And in the song, they're shouting it. It's like, they're fed up. They're done. You settled for this in the past. Whatever this energy is, you held back. You didn't fight for what you wanted. And even if like I can't say like your entire life. I'm just talking about whatever energy you are coming out of, whatever energy you're on the heels of, that was just like you just like took it as life was happening to you instead of taking control of your destiny. And it was settlement is almost like you were settling for less than what you deserved. Even if, like, I get the energy of somebody who's like cut people off and not tolerated shit. It's like your life was less than what you deserved. You weren't fighting for the life. I just heard I didn't have the fight left in me. And I think that's because of the misfortune. You must have endured or experienced something that kind of left you spent, just utterly spent. And so you were settling. You were settling for mediocre, for okay, for in this in the arena of or in the um justifications what I'm hearing of that at least it was stable. Like it's just I'm looking for any sense of I heard normalcy. I was going to say peace. Any sense of normalcy or peace or homeostasis in my life, and so I'm just like it's the idea of like they're showing me a creek or a riverbed, right? And one that's kind of coming down and the current is a little bit fast, but it's not like raging rapids. But the idea of having to swim upstream to get to this sweet spot, it like the water coming against you and the lack of energy and wherewithal in you felt like it was raging rapids. Does that make sense? And it just wasn't worth the fight. It wasn't worth the effort. It wasn't worth the energy. I am tired of having to claim or command or fight for things. That's what it feels like to me. And so you were willing even unwilling, they said, like you would just settle. You would resign to, I'm not doing that again. I want to say that there might have been some resentment, and there may have been reasons that you felt you had to be restrained. The idea of going upstream almost made it more of a splash than maybe was worth it at the time. You held back a lot. That's what the restraint is. You felt like you were restrained, but simultaneously spirit is saying you just held back also. And they're giving me this song with this one too. Like I don't know if like I feel like somebody has told spirit I'm not picking the path anymore that I have to fight for. Like there's some sense of I don't know where we're going with this. There's some sense of having to do that is almost lowering my worth. It's like I wouldn't I understand this. I wouldn't allow that from somebody in my life. I sure as hell am not going to with something etheric, right? Like if I have to chase after something that fucking much to where I feel so depleted and energetically zapped, then I don't want it. I don't want it. Like the idea and notion that some course or path that whether it's people or energies at play want you to have to work hard for something or are pushing you in a direction towards your destiny that requires working hard, you're not going to do it. And there's a little bit of the I'm taking my destiny back. Not only it is putting yourself in the fucking driver's seat, right? It is taking control back, which I almost want to say Spirit wanted you to do to begin with. It's like the idea or notion that maybe during this time of settlement, misfortune, and restraint, there was a question. Like you were like you didn't want to have to swim upstream because it felt so exhausting. You may have simultaneously asked what either for I get the feeling of like asking for it to be easier. And you not like almost like not getting a response from Spirit. Like whatever came from that, it wasn't easier. Like the path that was being shown to you consistently it was not. And it was almost as if you needed to get to a place of taking the reins back and saying, this does not have to be this fucking difficult. That it's almost like saying, this is my destiny. This is the route that I want to go. This is where I want to head. This is not the fucking path that I want to take to it. That I do deserve ease. But I'm also done settling. I think you've accumulated more energy and willingness to put effort into something, but you're still like no to a particular direction and way in which something would happen, right? Because it was still a lot of resistance. You were still having to swim upstream. It was still like, you know what I mean? And it felt like a raging rapid, and you were like, it's almost like you were like, I'm gonna get out of the water and walk along the bank. So you almost had to let go. I don't know why they're showing me this. You almost had to let go and let the rapid waters that were carry you almost further down, what seemed like further away from what you thought was for you, so that you could then, because you weren't going to fight against the waters. I'm not fucking doing it. There may have been a point when you're like, what is the fastest route? And they said upstream. Literally 30 to 40 yards upstream, and the Blue Lagoon is right there. And you're like, oh, and you're trying and you're trying and you're trying, and you're like, what? And then you're like, can't you just help me out with this? And they're like, sure, you can go down the other direction. You don't have to go there. You can go the other, and like that seemed like it would just took longer for you. You didn't want that either. So your energy is, why is everything got to be against me? Why is it all got to be, you know what I mean? And there really were just these options. They just weren't options you liked. And so you did resign yourself. You almost stayed, like you held onto some rock or boulder trying to figure it out. Like why is it going to be so hard? I think one of the routes, though, that they were suggesting, you weren't seeing it as easy as it was because you felt like it took you further away from what was your goal, your destiny. So you may feel like this last period of time was hanging on for dear life because they're just showing me somebody that wouldn't let go and float down the river to a more calmer space to get up on the bank and then go back up, because I think that felt exhausting to you as well. All the while, like, and going upstream was exhausting, all the while holding on to this situation, to the status quo, to right where you were at, and almost fighting the other options. That was where you resigned yourself. That is where you stayed in misfortune. That is where you restrained yourself. But now they're showing me somebody who you were stuck, but you did get your energy back. And it's funny because they're showing me somebody who doesn't go upstream, doesn't exactly go downstream. They almost kind of right where they're at, like, climb up onto the boulders because they didn't have strength to do that before either. And they walk across the rocks to the bank and then walk upstream. I want to say you probably didn't have to stay in this level of exhaustion and anger and resentment as long as you were. Because in all honesty, as long as it took you to garner your strength up by holding on to right where you were with all the waters rushing against you, it's like you are almost meeting yourself right where you would have been had you just gone downstream and walked back up. That felt too much like starting over, though. Felt too much like giving up. They said going down a rabbit hole. You felt like that would be going down a rabbit hole you didn't want to go down. But funny thing is, by staying where you were, it's almost like the time frame would have been the same. Because the currents coming against you, if you were trying to swim upstream, would have taken an amount of time. Because all of, like, trying to fight against that, right? And then the time for you to just float downstream to a calmer space where you could just easily walk out and get on the bank and then come back up, same amount of time as it would have taken to kind of swim upstream, right? And then the amount of time it took for you to rest and gather the wherewithal to climb out right where you were. Like, you had, that took the same amount of time. So let's say any one of these scenarios or situations would have taken you 10 minutes. Difference is that you hit a panic spot. Like, there's something about where you stayed, holding onto that boulder, doing that, almost, it was, had you chosen to do something right away, you would have felt more empowered, more confident, more, you know what I mean? But you kept yourself in a place of feeling like that. That's like a sense of victim mode. Like, I can't go up there and I can't go down there and I don't have the strength to get up. And what am I going to do? Like, there was this sense of, and I'm not trying to bash anybody, but that's the energy that I get. I'm Spirit's like, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. That's how you want to do it. Funny thing is, though, as upset as you were, like, there's just something in your energy now. I mean, I feel like you were for a period of time feeling very powerless, not like taking control of your destiny. And it is just what it is. It's what you chose in the moment. You were tuckered out. You were sick and tired of the fight. You didn't want to swim upstream. I get it. I understand it. So does Spirit. Okay, fine. You didn't like the idea of spending all this time to get further away from your goal, only to have to trek back up you know what I mean? That one was almost emotionally demoralizing. Where I feel like one path was physically, you just couldn't. You didn't have the motivation, the wherewithal, the drive, the follow through to do it. Like, I think they're giving me this feeling of physical depletion. And the other option felt like you might just give up if you had to go that direction. And so as tiring and as exhausting as it was, and almost having to stew in, like, I just feel like you actually chose the path to sit in something. Holding on was still exhausting. And the prospect of climbing out because you didn't have the energy still felt like it was taking you further away from your goal. It was emotionally demoralizing. It's almost as if I can't say that you wouldn't have experienced all of that in any one of the other directions, actually. The only difference is you would have been in action with the other two. You've been in inaction with the choice you made. Almost as if had you chose the other two options, you would have been at least feeling like you were doing it, like you were trying and you were fighting for it. But again, that's not exactly what you wanted to do. You didn't want to fight for it anymore. Either way, you're at a point where you have the capacity, the wherewithal, and you're like, you're making shit happen now. And the funny thing is, this upheaval that's about to happen or is happening or is in the process of coming to be, this tower moment was always fated. Like I said, any of the directions, you get to the same point in the same amount of time. It's just what you did with the time in between that would have been different. And you chose what you chose. But you have the ability now. And whatever the choice you made, whatever you were in, has you fighting like hell. Which is, in all honesty, any one of those routes would have put you in this energy, it feels like, of taking fucking control. Because it's how it was always supposed to be. Whatever got you to this point is whatever got you to this point. And it's like, there's no love, like, there's no this idea of codependency on spirit where just tell me what to do or tell me how it's supposed to go and I'll do it. Or just tell me da-da-da-da. I just get the energy that everything's back online. Mental, physical, emotional. It's all back online again. And because of that, you're able to they're giving me this sense of, like, I don't know why we're still stuck here, okay, guys? Like, if I'm at the rock and I had all those faculties and I'm holding on, like, you could have asked more questions. You could have sought more, you know what I mean? I feel like you got very general responses from spirit, not real detailed ones. You know, kind of like they were like, I'm not getting in the driver's seat. I am here, okay, in the passenger with the map, and I'm telling you, if you go upstream, you're going to have a lot of current against you. If you go to, you know what I mean? Kind of like when we're driving in the driver's seat, and they're like, by the way, you're about to go off a cliff. Or, by the way, this path over here is going to be really bumpy. Like, that's the extent of it. But had you had all your faculties about you, you could have said, is there a road? Is there a detour? Is there a way to do X, Y, and you could have gotten specific. And spirit would have been like, and they could have thought along with you. But you didn't give spirit any real direction. It's like saying, I just want things to be better. Throw me a fucking bone. What is your definition of better? Like, what are you wanting exactly? And they're like, and you're like, anything but this. And they're like, upstream? I mean, have you ever been the person in the passenger seat telling somebody how to go? They're like, which way do I go? And you're like, where are we going? Like, you know, like you're trying to look, right? And they just be getting aggravated shit. And it's like, give me some more specifics. Like, are we stopping soon? Do we need to get food? Do we need to, you know? And it's like, somehow you're in the wherewithal now. And they just show me somebody standing up. Like, you get up onto the bank and you stand up and you're like, is there a 7-Eleven real close by? You gave something specific and spirit's like, yes, there is. And you're like, okay, before we get into that, I need to go pee and do da-da-da. Like, you are giving instructions now. Imagine trying to put out into the universe, I just want joy. I mean, even spirit's going to get exhausted when they're like, okay, I don't know exactly what you mean. I do know the frequency of joy. And so like these 5 million people think that this is joy. And I send it to you and you're like, that's not joy. Give me joy. And they're like, oh, for fuck's sake. Because let's just be honest. They could go back to old stuff, which I feel like they did. They were like, okay, well, you used to like this. They threw it your direction. Well, aren't you just getting pithy with them? That I don't like that anymore. The fuck? Do you realize that they could have given you more specifics? They could have, like, you know what I mean? And you really just, at some point, I don't care who you are. You got a friend like this, you're like, I'm going to let you figure shit out on your own. And when you're ready, let me know. Okay? That's what spirit was like. Like, I'm just going to let you figure this out. Let you get to a certain spot. Let you, you know what I mean? And then when you get to a place where you're like, let's do this. Like, you know that friend that's like, I don't know what I want to eat, or your partner or anything else like that. And at some point you're like, and anything you suggest, and it's like, no. And you're like, okay, you know what? You're going to get hungry enough. You're going to make a fucking decision. I'm just going to sit here until you're ready. Okay? Just let me know when you're ready. That's the kind of energy it is. Okay? And so it's like pulling the trigger, bringing something down. You know what you want. You're moving away from something. You're ready to build this structure. It's like you initiate some level of upheaval. You initiate some level of upheaval. Little did you know, like, this last phase was very healing for you. Help and healing. It's almost like, again, no matter which way you went, you had to get to this space where you were feeling like, I am not going to take this anymore. Life is not going to happen to me. I am going I am in control of my destiny. You're tired of being resigned. You're tired of being restrained. You're tired of expecting or allowing or succumbing to or handing your power over to any type of misfortune in your life. This upheaval that you're about to go through, this tower moment, this faded taking your life back, is all about transformation and help and healing. That's what it's doing. On the other side of this tower moment, on the other side of this, it's like your old life, you're just bringing it down. Getting sick and tired of something, taking control is healing in and of itself. And it's transforming your life. You are taking charge. And on the other side of this, we have just things that you don't see coming. By bringing this down, by letting go of your old life, of the misfortune, of the resentment, of the restraints, all of that, by welcoming the transformation, there's so much, like, so many mysteries, so many things revealed to you. This mystery feels like surprises. You pulled this tower down. You created this upheaval in your life, not knowing exactly what that would mean, what that would entail. But you sure as hell was done with the other, and you were tired of handing your power over, and now you are in control. And as a result, I want to say your life from this point forward is going to be full of mystery, almost like exciting mystery, like gifts to unfold, surprises in store, adventure, and travel. Whoop! Yeah, but I thought I had it upside down. Travel. This is what's ahead of you. The mystery sounds so positive. It feels good. It's like your willingness to go into the unknown and it's like new experiences is what it feels like. The mystery is things that you haven't allowed yourself to experience before, haven't had the opportunity to experience before, almost like the things that you're holding yourself back from experiencing during whatever this phase was, this restraint, this resigning to life is just going to be like this. No, the fuck it's not. No, it's not. I get to have, like, there's this mystery, adventure, and travel that's on the horizon that's allowed to come in now because you're saying yes to it. You pulling that structure down, crumbling it yourself, pushing the button for the dynamite, like that is the permission. And I feel like you're saying, I want this. This is what I want. Like you are in a place where you desire this. And you're not going to take no for an answer. Okay, now they want me to bring in Madame Adora's fortune telling card. That's a lot. We're just going through this. It's very serious, but yet just... Sorry, guys. I know that gets loud with it. My mic is up here. You're just not going to resign yourself to the idea or notion that you have to exist in this misfortune, restraint, and settlement for the rest of your life. You're not settling. You're not fucking settling. This is interesting because we have your surroundings will undergo a transition. But on one side, we have a sly and subtle approach is needed. But on this side, we have passion and romance await. Now, they're giving me the idea of moving the notion of romance beyond with a partner into feeling like, you know how like an experience can feel so romantic? Like going out and wooing the moon. You know what I mean? Like moments where you sit out under the stars. It could be just you with your mug and a crisp fall evening or night. You can see all the stars, and it's like the most life itself. You have become romantic and passionate with life. Like these experiences are seductive. They seduce you. It brings out an aspect of yourself that's laid dormant. But a lot of change is happening. I'm curious about the sly and subtle approach. Like, because you don't feel. The energy is very commanding, matter of fact, and not something that's it feels like a very change maker. I'm in charge of the energies now, right? I don't bend to the energies around me. I wield them. That kind of a thing, right? So I'm like, where's this sly and subtle approach coming from? And what the fuck is you talking about? I have both of these. I have never, this last little phase, this last couple of weeks, I've always used this deck, but the level of incessant me from it is like, wow, really? Um, I when I tell you they have that shit on loop and I wish they'd turn it off. No, we ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. Like they just, I'm like, okay, I got the gist. Like, I understand. Turn it off. Like it's some kind of anthem right now. This is the Night Sun Tarot. I want to know about this sly and subtle approach. They're showing me somebody, I don't know if you all watch, they're showing me that girl. I cannot remember the actress's name. For those who watch it, The Witcher on Netflix, the mage, and like when in the first season when she doesn't even have to do anything. Like she just stands there and is aware and like think, because she can wield things. She's got magic, all that kind of stuff. Like it's something to that effect. Like it's almost as like being aware and witnessing everything that happens and being able to wield it without bringing attention to yourself. Like that's the way the image is showing in my head. I need to know what this is. Okay, so what they were first showing me is they showed me like someone who almost there's some kind of like closing out of the old life or that situation that requires a little bit of finesse. You know, when you almost kind of convince people around you, look at this tower. Somebody's going to get really hurt by it. Like, we really need to probably do something before it happens, and like we're taken by surprise. Y'all, would y'all be okay? Like, I feel like I need to go ahead and like, it's like smoothing it over a little bit. Like, you're almost preparing people, and you're like, so don't get alarmed. I'm gonna go ahead and take this down. I know we're so used to seeing it here, but it's really unsafe. Okay, so and I'll clean it all up. You don't got to worry about anything. And I just feel like you should, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's this very like the sly and subtle approach reminds me of the fox, very cunning. You know what I mean? Like, there's a very smart way to go about this, a smart way of introducing or preparing or preparation for the winds of change. Because in this, when I'm asking about the sly and subtle approach, it's like your approach to this new beginning and walking away from something. They gave me the Fool card and the Eight of fucking Cups. Eight of Cups is walking away from everything that was to go to what you truly desire and want. The Nine of Cups, right? True personal contentment. And the fact that like, oh, this, you need to take a sly and subtle approach in this transition. It's almost like the Death card, the end of something, the beginning of something else. I almost said resurrection. And so it's like, this transition of walking away and starting anew needs to have a bit more finesse, be a little cunning about it, be strategic. But, you know, I told you, you feel that way now. You didn't have the mental capacity to do all of that and to see that and whatnot when you were hanging onto the rock. But now that you got your wits about you again, you've got your energy back, the wand suit, you've got your emotions back on radar, online, and you feel a little more in control of those. Your thoughts are there now, and so it's almost like now you're like, is there a 7-Eleven? Remember I said, is there a 7-Eleven? Like, instead of just saying, I just want, you know, it's like you start making plans and you start going, this is the next step. This is the next step. This is the next step. It's almost as if, right? So your wits are about you. You see it. You know it. It's like, you know how to smooth things over. You know how to usher this in. And it's almost as if you are saying, this is what I want to do. And then the universe responds. This is what I want to do. And the universe responds. This is what I want to do. But you're not giving this blanket overall overreaching sensation or energy. You're like, you're giving the plans. You're seeing the steps and calling them out that will lead to and even during the winds of change. And because of that, it takes you to a place of bliss experience. Do you got any suggestions or details you want to give about the sly and subtle approach? Because it obviously comes before surroundings undergoing a transition. So it feels like the buildup or the lead up to the tower coming down, or what you like being smart about. Like, you don't, maybe you were smart. You're like, I'm going to pull this tower down, but I know if I yank from the backside, it's just going to crumble everywhere else. Just like when they bring buildings down in the city, they strategically put the dynamite in certain places so it crumbles completely down in the center and no one gets harmed from it. Is there a way that you're trying to maneuver so that there's like the least amount of rubble or least amount of potential unexpected events? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, something to that effect. It's like you're being strategic about, like, you chose this pillar on purpose because you know if you took this one out, the domino effect would happen so that it would be nice and clean. It wouldn't be this big messy thing. So you're making the decision for this upheaval. You're choosing this transformation, and in doing so, in moving forward, you are healing. Like this is your like, I am done being in this level of misfortune. I'm taking the lead, and you're doing something very calculated is what they just gave me, because you're in that space now. You weren't before. You weren't. By all means, you're on the right path. We've got the star card, right? Which is all about being guided by your inner compass, your intuition, staying on par, like being of both worlds now. Like before, you wanted all the answers from the etheric, and now you're like, I'm an active, willing participant in this whole scenario now. Because the thing about the star is she's usually on land and water, right? She's of both worlds. Both are important. This is in yesterday's reading where I said something to the effect of the ability to follow intuition, but not like lobotomizing yourself and not applying any type of wisdom. Like spirit at no point expects you to abandon wisdom. You know, your intuitiveness helps you with the directions, but the details of maneuvering those directions comes from your existence in this world and knowingness and wisdom that you've accumulated over time, right? So it's kind of like there should be an equal application of both. And I think that's what they're saying, a slide and slow approach. It's like you know, I'm like, you feel inclined to go certain directions, but you know how to, like, if they're like, I want to get over, right? Okay. Like I want to get from one side of the creek to the other. I don't just go, okay, and walk through it and then, because there's like a big 5-foot drop in the middle of it, right? Like I'm smart. I need to get over there. Oh, okay, I'm gonna go. But then I'm looking. Where is the best path? What do I need to do? Oh, it drops a little bit there. Let me walk over on these rocks over here, and it does go down a little bit here, but it only right here, so I can manage. You know, like you know what I'm saying? Like you don't abandon. You don't just go okay and like that. There's this sense of, you know, you have the wherewithal, you have the desire, you're back on the saddle, you're in the driver's seat, all these little sayings, and you're like, this is what's going to happen. So you're telling spirit, and spirit's kind of giving you, and you're like also maneuvering at the same time. Before, you were literally just handing it over to spirit, like just, you know. And then when spirit would tell you something, you would take it back. You're like, never fucking mind, okay? And you would just sit there. Like that's kind of how it went. This isn't a true co-creative energy. I want to know about the surroundings undergoing a change, because when I see adventure, travel, mystery, like there's so many surprises and so many beautiful things to unfold, and it's like you're okay with the mystery again. Okay. That feels exciting. That felt scary for a little while, but you're okay with the mystery again. So between the surroundings, it will undergo a transition, and the travel and the adventure and all that kind of stuff. It's like, I feel like you're going into the unknown. That's what the mystery is, which could even be like moving to the unknown. Like I feel like there's movement, and I want to know, because when you bring in surroundings will undergo change or transition, I'm actually feeling like location, where you're at, where you are is not where you're going to be. Which is what you were trying to do all along, right? You didn't want to be where you were at, stuck, holding onto a boulder. You wanted to be up at the Blue Lagoon. You're being very strategic about how you get there now. So tell me about I feel like it's a combination of these two, and then we'll probably be done. Sorry, guys. Try not to be so loud. Mm-hmm. Well, we do have this, just reinforcing what I said. We got the King of Swords, and literally on this card there it says a balance of mental and emotional considerations. Like there's a balance that has been brought back into your beingness. And then we have new ideas, new inspirations, new paths. Ace of Swords. And then we have the Six of Swords. This is all swords. This is all swords. Winds of change. Right? Sometimes I get a little, things are looking up, end of a difficult situation, and I shit you the fuck not, taking a trip. Taking a trip. Somebody is getting away from where they are. Is this a move or is this... the King of Air also just takes action. He makes decisions. He's strategic. He makes plans and he goes after them. Sometimes the Knight of Swords can be a little, sometimes they're a little too impulsive. They're just like, any change, any change. This is a very strategic change. Well thought out. And it's almost like going after some type of new path, new inspiration. Give me just a hot second, guys. Son of a biscuit eater. Something about your willingness to go, to leave, to take on some type of adventure, or to just get away from your normal haunts, getting out of that same stuck situation. This brilliant idea or inspiration, it's almost like it comes from, is garnered from, or is because of this some type of adventure or willingness to try new things, go somewhere you haven't before, because we literally have leap of faith, unexpected opportunities. This is the Fool card again. That brings in an exceptionally happy, prosperous, beautiful life. We have the Ten of Pentacles with it. This new adventure, this new place, it's either something happens as a result of traveling that then changes everything. Like you might get some type of unexpected opportunity because you choose to go on an adventure and travel. There's something, that's why the mystery card's here. There's something with this. If you go on some type of travel or adventure, or you just get away from your normal haunts, there's a gift or a surprise in it for you. There's something there. I'm trying to figure out where this is going. Some situation, whether it's a trip or a move, I'm just going to tell you this much. I don't know. We have a male and a female here. And there's an expectation or a level of concern surrounding these two. Like, the expectation is sometimes can be the feeling like it's like you're not in control of the situation, so you just expect certain things to go awry, or you're just expecting things, like, you know what I mean? Or the idea that you have to just wait and see, you know what I mean? Like, you anticipate something. There's an anticipation. And surrounding these two individuals is a level of concern, okay? Like, somebody is just like, because that's how it came out. Concern was on one end, expectation on the other, right? There's just maybe two individuals that just are just expecting the worst of maybe just like constantly existing and living in concern. And there's something that's tied to things getting exponentially better with the journey card. The journey card is either moving or going on a trip. There's something about getting away from where you're at that improves things dramatically. The high honor card is about improvement. It's about elevating situations, circumstances, and people. It is being exposed to better, being offered better as a result of this move. So there may be concerns, maybe to people, because they feel like they are in a situation they can't change, or they're in a situation that they're just expecting the worst of, like this would be the anticipation of, oh, we'll never get out of here, we'll never be able to do this, we'll never ever, you know what I mean? Like, just there's a level of concern. Why are they concerned? Let's go there. Maybe it's a concern of going on a trip or moving, and like, oh my gosh, I don't really know if this is a good idea. And they're saying, hey, like, this is going to exponentially make shit better. But let's see here. What is the concern for? Why is there a concern? Just a concern for the unknown. Either this is a concern of somebody that's around you, false person that you think will, like, an individual that might retaliate, or a person that will, because the thoughts card is also about obsessed thinking, like the things that you're consistently worried about and concerned about. And so maybe there's somebody who thinks, I can't move because some fucker will create issues for me, right? I can't do this. There's concern. People are just wanting something. That's the expectation too, but not knowing how to exit. Like, I want this, but I'm concerned about it. You know what I mean? Or this could just be the concern for the unknown. But I feel like somebody in this situation says, fuck it, and takes life back. Tired of being concerned of the unknown. You may very well get an opportunity to move, to go somewhere, and you're like, suck it up, buttercup. You choose to pull that tower down. You say yes. Although you may be generally the person that's concerned because you don't know which way this is going to go, or how this is going to happen, or what's going to come as a result of it. And you may have been fearing any type of change because of that. You've kept yourself in place all this time. And something about right now, you are tired of resigning yourself. You're tired of being restrained. You're tired of the misfortune. You're willing to say yes to something that comes in. And it is well thought out. Like, you know what you're doing. You are taking the sly and subtle approach. You're willing to Eight of Cups, walk away from something to have this brand new beginning. And you're going to do so very intelligently. You're not only following your intuition, you're following your wisdom as well. You are back in control. You have your wits about you now. And the only way to get this adventure and this travel, like something about this, you could not have seen how this could have happened. And so if this comes up, like you're pulling the trigger or something, you're saying yes, you're accepting something, you're closing out the old chapter, and you may have been concerned up to this point. You know, you're like, we don't have enough money to do that, or we don't, but this opportunity arises, and it's like, this is the opportunity. It literally does say unexpected opportunities. There could be a level of concern around it. But it is going to lead to a happy family life. It's going to lead to financial growth. Being happy with life again. Of course, you don't know exactly how this is going to pan out. That's a part of the adventure. But it's getting you away from the status quo. And it's going to improve things so drastically and dramatically. Tell us about this travel or this journey. This new place. I want to say it's where you find home. A sense of security. It feels like, because they're giving me this toil and labor. Toil and labor is just the thing, like it's the day-to-day, the monotonous stuff, the whatever. It's like, it is a new home, a new daily routine, a new, like this is what you would do in your house, right? It's all the piddly stuff, all the day-to-day stuff. So it just feels like it is feels like a totally new location. What is this travel and this? It's like a new home for your day-to-day activities, for your daily life. I feel like love can flourish there. You're going to love this place. We have the Lovers, and then Distant Horizons, which is your wish card. This is your dream. Anything else about the travel that we need to know? This move, this on the go, this journey. This location change. Anything else, Spirit, before we close and wrap this up? Okay. Little hands have done. They're so funny. It's the Knight of Cups. This is an offer. This is an opportunity. It even says it's an invitation. And then it says perfect timing. It's like it's the right time for this. It shows up at just the right time. And then you're on the right path. Happy, optimistic, long-term plans. Like whatever this is, whatever you say yes to ends up putting you on a trajectory to change for long-term plans. Like it changes things. It's going to lead to a long-term change, which is why the upheaval card is there. Why the Tower moment, this faded, whatever it is, because it leads to permanent, I almost said permanent relocation. It absolutely will change everything from this point forward in life. So if you are presented with an opportunity to do something or an invitation to do something, it's going to lead to the closing of cycles. It's going to lead to a circumstance where you can pull that tower down yourself. It is something that's going to require a leap of faith, but you're definitely at the place where you're willing to do it. And I almost want to say it's coming in because you said, I feel like you crawled out of that water and you said, this is what needs to happen. Can this, like, you gave something specific. And in turn, the universe responds. And it's going to lead you to a completely different place that you feel right at home. And for me, I just can't get away from what it's almost like something that could be a trip would turn into a permanent relocation type of situation, or the invitation to get out and do something, or an opportunity leads to permanent change. You pull the trigger on it. You're taking control because life is no longer happening to you. You are happening to life. You're open and willing now to have that adventure. You're open and willing to the mystery again. You're willing to get out of your comfort zone. You're in a better space. You're in. You have your wits about you. You wield your own energies now. The world is not happening to you. You're happening to it. That's all I can keep. That's what they keep saying. And you're no longer holding yourself back. It's just the right time for this to happen. Okay. All right. Sometimes we're all bubbly and happy and and sometimes we're just like very serious. That was very serious. So, I just saw 1-13-13. It was like 1-1-3-1-3. So it was like 1 and then 13-13. My eyeball couldn't help but. So, all righty. Y'all were quiet today, just listening. I appreciate it. I'm going to hop off of here. I hope everybody has a fantastic day. I hope this message finds who it is meant for. And I will see you all again later this week.